Okay, hola all, welcome back to Soul Mechanics. Now, I'd like to open up by saying that I do apologize for the last video having been shit. However, if you watched that video and you saw the beginning of it and you failed to press the like button, you are in effect a bad person. Like, corrupted at the core, evil, born in sin. I'm joking, obviously. You're not a bad person. But if you did press the like button, I heavily appreciate it. Now, honestly, I don't know yet, because I haven't checked back on that video at this time. I don't know if anybody pressed the like button. But if you did press the like button, I'm not saying the people who didn't press it are bad. I'm just going to go ahead and say that the people who did press it are good. And I would like to ask for you to go ahead and press it. It's going to be like right there, I think. Go ahead and press it for this video because this one's going to be pretty good. So yeah, the people who did press it, they're the good ones. Not saying the others are the bad ones, but saying that they're the good ones. And I would like for you guys, whoever did press the like button, or even whoever intends to press the like button for this one, to go ahead and introduce yourself in the comments. I want to know who you guys are. You're the good ones. You're the people that I got on my back here that are backing Soul Mechanics. I mean, these likes, that's what we get paid. Obviously, the videos aren't monetized. Channel's not monetized. So that, and we're never going to ask for any donations or anything. So that is what we get paid. When you press the like button, it inspires me. It inspires Cheeks. It inspires us. That's our reward. That's what we want to get out of this, is knowing that you guys at least give a shit enough to press the button, if not actually enjoy the videos. So, please do press the like button. Anybody who did or does press the like button, introduce yourself. Now, this is another exercise. Just like reminding yourself to press the like button is an exercise for discipline, essentially. Going ahead and commenting, saying hello, introducing yourself, is an exercise in willfulness, in stepping up and presenting yourself, an exercise in bravery, essentially. An exercise in your ability to step up, present yourself, and be forward. And, you know, be a strong, courageous individual who's not afraid to present themselves and say hello. And this is an exercise we try to promote with the initiative page, though not many people take advantage of it. I heavily suggest that you take advantage of it here. I'm going to, in fact, present exercises that you can do right here on the channel for every one of these videos that will promote the element that I'm speaking to. Now, this video, if you read the title, this video is regarding gravity, which is the governing element of the psyche. And this is presented in so many ways, through so many things. I'm not sure what the Holy Trinity, out of the Holy Trinity, what would represent this, because they're not really, like, they're pretty vague on that. They don't really let you know what that actually means, the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, what any of it means. I'm going to have to, let's see. The Father is supposed to be the creator, so that would have to be the ground. The Son is the mouthpiece, the voice, the representative. The value of the Son is going to be the presentation. So I think it's going to have to be the Father. The Holy Spirit is the guiding element. It might be the Holy Spirit. See, it's too vague. I can't pin the values down. The Holy Spirit is the guiding element. The Father is the directive element. The Son is the active, but presentation element, the voice, the mouthpiece. So that the mouthpiece has to be the ground. That's going to be earth. That's going to be dream. That's going to be the memory element. And the Father is the directive, creative force. So I think it's the Father. It's going to have to be the Father, because the Holy Spirit, obviously, it's spirit. It is the guiding influence. Whatever. Never mind. I think that's going to be the God character in that story that's going to be representative of gravity and of the element that governs the psyche, which is the governing element for blues, obviously. and the intellect and intellectual matters, psychology. You know, this is the mind. This is the everything that's representative of mind, where we have the mind, body, spirit. You know, these categories. What I'm hoping that I got hopefully I was managed to get across well enough in the previous video is that the basic, the groundwork for soul mechanics essentially is this idea that reality itself, like the material of existence itself. Now, this is not speaking really to anything that you're seeing in the world, anything that you understand as being right now. This is speaking to the actual kind of just identity, initial identity, or initial force in play, construct in play that becomes reality. So it's the fabric of reality is what we're speaking to, is value. And then, of course, there are aspects that attach to values. Values fracture into pieces. The initial 3 fractures of it, there's 1 second that creates time. So there's 1 factor, 1 value, then there is 1 other value, 1 second that creates time. And from time is produced these 3 elements that also divide into dimensions, and so on and so forth. But the 3 elements, these are, we can't claim to know what it actually is. It's something. It's whatever is. It's reality itself. It just exists. It's the creation of reality as it's happening. But we can tell for sure enough, certainly enough, that there are these 3 elementary factors that are in fact basically the fundamental defining characteristics. This is what value presents as in any given situation: memory, gravity, relativity. And so gravity being the first one, this is the element of the psyche. Now, this is pretty much everything. Where we call the channel soul mechanics for a reason. It's the mechanics of the soul. Now, viewing what we know of quantum mechanics and even psychology, and just about everything's going to line up in this way when you really look at it, but primarily what we know of quantum mechanics and what we know of psychology, your mind is everything. Because what you think is happening out there in the world, out here in the world, even your own body, none of that is really happening out there anywhere. There is no out there out there. What's really happening is neurons are firing in the brain that's creating an experience. And for all intents and purposes, we can't even tell if anything outside of the brain, even the brain itself, is not essentially real. In a traditional sense, it's not. It's creating itself somehow. The consciousness of it is producing it. The observation of it is producing this effect that becomes the reality of it. And it's the observation that makes the reality happen. Now, you're not actually seeing anything outside. You think your eyes are seeing, but what you're seeing essentially is going to be value. However, what you're experiencing is all happening in the brain. So everything that happens in your experience is in your mind. Thereby, everything in the world is your mind. The entire world is your mind. It's a reflection of your mind. And psychology tells us the same thing, wherein we see that we project and we reflect upon everything around us. We project our own identity on it, and we reflect upon that. That's going to be the relativity aspect more, but that's essentially what's happening, is that you are, in fact, the values that you see in play, the values are the reality. But when you look at a thing, unless you're a very well-trained spotter, you're likely to see the aspects first. At the very least at first. But for most people, that's all they see, is the aspects that are attached to the value. They have no idea what the reality of anything is. And values are floating around. There are values presenting in everything. Values, even thoughts, are values. And then there are aspects attached to them. And so, like when somebody says something, or when somebody does something, there's a value to that. When somebody behaves, this is why we get into reading body language and neuro-linguistic programming and such. Because even person's very activity is presenting values. but you're not seeing the values, you're seeing the aspects. You're seeing, for most people, are seeing the aspects. They're seeing what they project upon it, and they get feedback based on what they put into it, instead of seeing what it really is and ultimately what it's projecting. That's what spotters are trying to do, to see what values are presenting and what they are projecting, so that you can effectively maneuver and negotiate with other factors in play, because everybody has their own perspective. If you can see through their eyes, essentially, that's what makes you a spotter. You can see the reality of other people, you can see the values in play in any given instance. But again, psychology and quantum mechanics are both telling us, even relativity is telling us to some extent, that a thing is only really as existential, for the most part, insofar as regards its relation to something else. Nothing, 1 + 1 = 0. You can't have a thing existing on its own. It needs something else to define it. And that's what the definition of any given thing is, defined by its relation to something else. Thereby, everything is one mind, one psyche, which psyche is soul. Soul and psyche are synonymous. Soul is meant to, that's what soul means, psyche or mind. So, this is something that we have trouble with, because what we want to get across here is we want you to understand that, we want you to feel that, to live that, to comprehend that you are in fact connected and one with everything, that we are all sharing one soul. The problem is, you know, in our communities, especially in the metaphysical communities and spiritual communities, everybody's going to throw around this phrase, you know, this concept that we're all one, we're all connected, you know, we're all part of whatever, we're all part of God, or whatever they want to call it, the universe. But when it gets down to the nitty-gritty, it doesn't seem they actually believe that, and there's a reason for that. It's because they have this concept of an individual dissected soul. They have this concept of a separate, isolated soul, as though they possess a unique soul unto themselves. Everybody has this idea. That idea is presented, of course, by religion. The values that religion presented. Religion comes into play, and it's so effective, as stated before, because it makes use of an existing schematic. It makes use of the values that are already in play, given what the elder traditions have presented, and you know, what they've contrived. Religion comes along and just takes what they're presenting, hijacks it, and warps it, and effectively uses it to kind of drive this, you know, launch this value of an individual isolated soul deep into the psyche. It's just embedded deep in there. It's going to be really difficult for you to work through that, because again, it's just like plastered all over you. It's buried in the bottom of you, this value that you have a unique, isolated, separate soul, and it's so easy. They hijack concepts presented, such as one of the hijack concepts here is going to be reincarnation. Reincarnation suggests that you live lives, you continue to live lives, you're born again. After you die, you live another life. Now, this does not mean that you are an individual person. It just means that your entity, your consciousness is going to reincarnate. But that's everyone. That's the whole world is doing that with one consciousness. But religion presents the concept that you have an isolated consciousness divided from all the others, and effectively it divides all of us from each other, from ourselves, from God itself. That's why modern religion, Christianity, is an anti-theistic practice. It's an anti-theistic tradition. It's teaching you to divide yourself from nature and from each other. And you eat it because you don't see the value. You don't see that value. It slips right through using the existing schematic. Such concepts as reincarnation, which reincarnation could easily be presented. We're going to speak to reincarnation in the sidetracks course. I don't want to give it here, but reincarnation's cool. We can talk about that. I do believe that there's truth to it, but I have an alternate theory of it to present. So anyways, I guess you could say that the aspects that you're seeing and how they coordinate what they suggest to each other. What values and aspects are going to be doing essentially is implying things. There's going to be implications attached to any given value, implications presented by its aspects, which cause for you essentially to create whatever it implies, because you're not seeing the value. When the values that you put into play, your actions, what you do, you're putting implications into play. Now, the idea here is that the soul, the one united overall soul, the one consciousness that we're all a part of, we are all part of one biological structure, we're all part of one psychological structure, we're all part of one thing. You need to wake up and live that. Realize that. Everything you experience is happening in your brain. It's just a reflection of what you are seeing in relation to others. I mean, this is face value. This is simple understanding. This is common fucking sense. But that trap, that indoctrination trap of religion tricks you into thinking that you are divided, that you are isolated, that you are separate. And it's, again, it's, as I was saying, it's so easy, and it's so difficult. It's so easy to trick you like that, but it's so difficult to beat it and get out of the trap, because you don't want to. You don't want to believe that you're not unique, that you're not separate, that you're not isolated, that you're not a special soul unto yourself. You want to believe that you're that, but you're not. Sorry. Your personality, your identity that you've created with this body, that's very unique. That's unique unto itself. There is no one other like it anywhere. Even if you did reincarnate as yourself into another body, that body's not the same as this body. This body, this person that you are, is exceptionally unique, is exceptionally marvelous, is in fact totally fucking miraculous. It's special in every possible way because you built it. But who you are, what you built it, you own this body, you own this presence, you own this personality, this identity. It belongs to you, but you are not what it is. It is not what you are. You are its creator. You are its designer. You are the consciousness that's existing behind it, and there's only one of those. So that's basically it. That's really all I have to say about this. Gravity is essentially going to be what is binding things, what is holding things together, and that's the psychology of it. That's the mind. That's the soul presenting. It is creating the patterns, what emerges structure, or what structure emerges from. So that's going to be basically it. The values are moving around. Gravity is going to be, where it comes to gravity being in play regarding synchronicity, essentially it's kind of, the idea is going to be like, if you present a problem, that problem is going to attract two things based on the laws of attraction. You know, the laws of attraction are in play. Based on the laws of attraction, and what we're calling magnetic compatibility, you present a problem, it's going to attract two things. One, it's going to attract more of the problem, or B, it's going to attract the problem's solution. And these values are out there. There is a value for the solution, or there is a value for the person who has the solution. There is a value for more of the problem. There are values to get you deeper into the trouble that you're in, that you will draw towards you or repel and draw the solution depending on the implications that you put in play, because the soul belongs to you. So you can do anything with it. Now, you can't break somebody else's will because they are you too. So they have the same creative force of you. We all agree on what's happening with this construct. It would be very, very difficult for you to break the physical laws, laws of physics. Physics is everything. Everything is physical, which obviously everything is the soul. Everything is physical. Thereby, psyche and matter are the same thing. Again, the world is your mind. So you can't break the laws of physics, or at least it would be exceptionally difficult to break. You can bend the laws of physics for sure. I do it all the time, but you can't break them because there is a greater force in play. That is to say, every fucking buddy else is disagreeing with you on that. So you can't. We're all in agreement on what the laws of physics are for the most part. and that's what sustains it. That's the gravity of it. That's what holds it together. And then, again, these values are floating around everywhere, like I am a value in my own self, that I contain a series of values, a whole, what I like to call a deck, like a deck of cards, a whole deck of values, that, you know, I have the solutions to many, many people's problems, and thanks to the internet, it's very easy for these people to draw me to them, and so I find these people, I present the solutions, and guess what? Those people have values that present solutions for other people's troubles, or they present insights, inspirations. I see the values that are presenting in a person. I see the values in another person, how they connect, how they relate, and we fit the pieces together. That's what I'm doing as a director. That's what all the directors in the network need to be doing. Come on. Fuck. Anyways. That's basically it. As regards synchronicity, is going to be that values will attract, you know, values will attract their other, whatever it is, not necessarily a problem and a solution. It could be an insight and then something that expands upon that insight. You know, it could be something that involves the furthering of your personal path as an individual personality, whatever the case. But for the most part, the implications that you put into play, what you imply to the world, not what you tell the world, not what you say to the world. This is, prayer can be effective, but usually not so effective if you're asking for something, if you're pleading for something. If you tell the world, I need this thing, I want this thing, whatever it happens to be, the world's going to respond by saying, okay, you want it. And it's going to produce more of you wanting it, because what you're doing is telling the world, implying to the world that you do not have it. That's how the laws of attraction work. You need to imply to the world that it is yours, and the way that you do this, if you want a certain thing to come to you, is by causing for yourself to feel gratitude for it in advance, feeling grateful for it as though you've received it. That's what having faith means, knowing that you can produce results, knowing that having faith means knowing that you run the show. Keep that shit in mind. So anyway, that I don't have any more time now, but I think that got the basic premise of it across. We can speak further to it in the next one. Anyways, thank you all for watching. Tila Salai, Terva Uni Siari. Namaste.